Hello everybody, welcome to the Conscious Collaboration. My name is Jarrod Allen. Today we're going to do a video that I think is really important in the space at this point in time. Today we're going to talk about ayahuasca scams and how not to get scammed. Now, I think this is a very important video for people who are coming to work with ayahuasca for the first time, people who are potentially looking to go to new places for ceremony, or potentially looking for ceremonies in their local area, whatever it might be. Basically, anyone who's looking to work with ayahuasca, this could be very helpful. Now, to start off, with the growth in the space, there is an ever-increasing amount of scams. Now, a lot of these are coming from social media, coming from Instagram, Facebook, maybe TikTok, this sort of thing. I think it's absolutely horrible that this is happening. It's quite infuriating. It's quite disgusting, to be honest, that people are doing this and trying to take advantage of people who are looking for healing and growth. But I think it's really important to begin with to understand what are the contributing factors and why is this happening. So from the way I look at it, we have an increasing amount of people looking for healing. We have an increasing amount of people looking for growth. And we have an increasing amount of people looking to these beautiful alternatives for this solution, simply because our society, our culture at this point in time can be quite narrow-minded, and people are looking to go outside those paradigms to be able to find solutions to these challenges. Now, another contributing factor is that there is a huge lack of structure in the space, especially as it moves into Western culture. Because there's a lot of problems in Western culture. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of people from Western culture looking to these beautiful traditional medicines for a solution. So due to this, we have a growing amount of opportunistic scammers who are seeing this as an opportunity, who are using this to leverage the gaps and to take advantage of people who are looking for healing and growth. Now, I try not to get too furious about it. It's extremely frustrating to me. I've racked my brain in regards to viable solutions. One thing I do know that I do find some solace in is that energetically, karmically, these people are sowing a pretty bad seed, I think, when it comes to it. And they have some very challenging lessons coming their way by putting this out there into the collective as well. Now, the other thing is that I do try and come to things from a solution standpoint, especially when we're looking at things like this. So I really do believe that the best solution in this scenario is solid education. I do believe the best solution in this scenario is empowering yourself, hopefully helping empower people so that they have a better toolkit, they have a better understanding of how not to get scammed. Because I don't really know what other solution there is. These things are going to keep popping up, probably more and more as it gains popularity. So in this video, what we're going to do, we're going to cover some of the common scams. We're going to cover what scammers do to gain your trust. We're also going to look and go into, what are some of the signs of a scam. Then lastly, if you watch to the end, we're going to work on tips, and we're going to cover some tips on how to avoid being scammed. So to make a start, let's talk about some of the common scams. So firstly, there is the scam of the bogus ceremony. Now, majority of these scams originate on social media. They're usually in countries where it's legal, but more likely in countries where it's not legalized or it's illegal. Now, generally what the scammer is going to do here is leverage the illegality. They're going to leverage the fact that it's sort of a little bit under the radar, because it's very, very hard for you as the person looking to participate to be able to verify the provider, be able to verify the ceremony, and also verify their credibility. Now, majority of these scams do originate through a private message from a group. This could be in response to a post that you made. This could be in response to a like that you made on a comment or something along those lines. But they're sort of responding to the fact that you are kind of warm and open to plant medicine, essentially. So they're going to send you a private message. They are they're also responding to a post, but there's also a little bit of a curveball here, and something that they sometimes do is that you will write a post or you'll write a comment in regards to a post that someone else made. What they'll do there is they'll say, hey, send me a message, and they're going to get you to engage into a conversation with them. This is a way of subconsciously helping you think that you made the choice to get in contact with them as well. So after that, generally what they'll do in this sort of scenario is they're going to try and get you to engage in an email conversation, an email interaction. Now, they might direct you to a bogus Instagram account. They might direct you to a bogus website that isn't quite right. But there's a few different ways that they can do this, a bogus Facebook account, whatever it might be. So now we're sort of recognizing what a bogus ceremony could look like. Another common scam as well, which sometimes goes hand in hand, is a bogus center. So it's much the same as the bogus ceremony. They'll appear to have a center. Usually it's in close proximity to where you are asking if there's an available ceremony or whatever it might be, or they'll look at your Facebook account and see where you live and say, hey, are you interested in ceremonies in Louisiana? Are you interested in ceremonies near Montreal? Are you interested in ceremonies near Brisbane, Australia? Whatever it might be. Just to sort of make you feel comfortable. Oh, wait a minute, this could be like really, really easy. Now, private message you, same sort of thing, or prompt you to get into a message string with them. Now, one thing really important to note on both of these, please listen very, very carefully. From my experience, no credible provider, no credible shaman, no credible center, no credible facilitator is scouring social media looking for people to help. They're just, and especially in a country where it's illegal, like they're not going to go around just sending out messages. This is sort of common sense. They'll be exposing themselves to potentially getting in trouble. So just use your common sense on that one as well. So the next type of scam that we sometimes see is the selling medicine directly. Now, if you've sort of done a little bit of research, you can start to understand that the importance of, you can understand the importance of a ceremony, you can understand the importance of having a shaman when you are doing and working with ayahuasca. It's more than just the ayahuasca. But generally what they will also do here is that they're going to get in contact with you, maybe even try and convince you a little bit that you don't need those other things, which is absolute BS by all means, in my opinion, absolutely. But they're going to offer to sell you ayahuasca. They might offer to sell you psilocybin in a different scenario as well, private messaging you, attempting to get you to pay them some money, and then nothing ever arrives. So I would highly recommend never going down this path, even if it was legitimate. So the next thing to note with that as well is that, just like before, no reputable provider, no decent person is ever going to encourage you to take ayahuasca on your own, especially as you're coming into it. Maybe after you've been working with it for 10 or 15 years or something, then obviously this is all redundant. But yeah, no reputable provider is going to ask you or encourage you to do that. So just keep that in mind as you do keep on your quest for working with ayahuasca. Okay, so now that we have covered the bogus ceremony, we've covered the bogus center, we've covered the bogus medicine, trying to sell you medicine, there is another soft scam. This is more of a soft scam. Maybe scam's a little bit of a strong word, but it definitely is deceptive. Now, this is the scenario where someone's selling extracts, for instance. I have seen quite a rise in people selling the B-cappy component to ayahuasca. One of the misleading things that they do, though, they sort of really claim it to be ayahuasca, getting the same effects as ayahuasca. They send you some extract, you take that. Sometimes it's very, very expensive. under the guise that you're going to get the same effects, that you're going to get the same healing, you're going to get the same growth just from taking the extracts. So I think this is one really to be mindful of. But in saying that, there is definitely some good providers that do sell extracts, but they're usually the ones that have been very clear that it's not ayahuasca. They're not trying to claim it's ayahuasca in its totality. They are just letting you know that it's an extract, and it can be helpful, because it absolutely can be helpful. So now that we've spoken about the different types of scams, let's go into what scammers do to gain your trust, okay? They always act as kind-hearted helpers, like they're riding under the guise that they are, just people trying to help people. Another thing that they will do to gain your trust is steal photos from legitimate providers. I've seen them steal, like firsthand, see them steal shamans' names, sort of use their identity, claiming to be them as well. They will leverage your lack of knowledge of the space as well. That's one way that they will try and gain your trust as well. They will leverage the underground nature of the space. They'll leverage the fact that you're looking for healing and growth, and that maybe you're in a place of vulnerability as well. But they will, as I mentioned before, they'll leverage the underground nature of the space, especially in illegal countries also. They will appear to be legitimate to a degree with some basic website, an Instagram account, or something similar. Now this is a big thing. There seems to be in this space, because it's a spiritual space, it's a healing space, there's a lot of beautiful people, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of growth. They generally hide behind this because it is a space where sometimes we might let our guards down, because same as like you wouldn't think someone would ever steal from you in a church. That's sort of how it works. I think it's really important to understand that they are leveraging this, they're utilizing this, and they're really trying to take advantage of this. So we're going to get into the next bit. What are some of the signs of a scammer? They will always come out of nowhere, generally popping into your private messages. They also won't consult you in any way, shape or form, or maybe just a little bit. They will sometimes have some photos and some testimonials that look slightly different. This is a really good sign. So you might see one that looks like they're in a desert, but the next one they're in a jungle and they're claiming it's a retreat center. Just use your common sense with this one, by all means. They will ask for deposits or transfers really quickly. They're generally kind of pushy as well. Sometimes it's just too easy also. I always like the analogy, if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. Utilize this, be vigilant when it does come to making your choices here. They will also build unnecessary urgency. This is really regular. I've just got one spot left, I've just got 2 spots left. Rather than giving you time, giving you all the information to help you become comfortable with the place that you are choosing. They generally won't have multiple pay options either. Which is kind of common. Usually directing people to try and use PayPal, and that's the only option that they can use. There's generally no face to the provider as well. This is an important thing also, is that there's no screening process a lot of the time, and they won't ask you many questions. So if someone isn't screening you, they aren't asking you many questions, they obviously aren't taking the work very seriously if it was a legitimate place, but they're also not trying to get to know you and not trying to understand what you're trying to work through as well. So they'll also ask for payments without screening and consultation. They generally don't have a lot of information about the ceremony, a lot of information about the shaman, about the facilitator, about the facility as well. It's all kind of vague. This is a really good one. They won't have many contact options. So that's one thing to really look out for. You want someone that has an email, a phone number, potentially some Instagram accounts, different ways that you can contact them. They're just generally trying to get you to speak to them in an Instagram account, Facebook account, or potentially via email as well. So the other thing as well, they will also have some things in regards to how they write sometimes as well. So there might be some language mistakes, there might be some grammar mistakes, there might be some terminology mistakes. The big challenge that we have here in this day and age is that we can use AI to try and translate something perfectly, but if you look very closely, sometimes you can pick up on little things that you can see that they aren't speaking the language as a native language as they may be claiming to do so. Once again, if you had some information, you can understand where they're coming from. If someone is claiming to be the facilitator and he's coming from the US, and then you can sort of see some of the grammar's not quite right, or if someone is in a Spanish-speaking country and is claiming to be from Spanish lineage and speak Spanish as a first language, Spanish speakers should be able to pick up on some of the incongruencies there as well. So the other thing they'll also claim to do is really directly claim that they can heal you, claim they can solve all your problems, fix all your challenges, that sort of thing. I don't believe that any reputable provider is ever going to make those claims. Their role and what a lot of reputable providers want to do is help you on your path and help you on your journey also. Next thing as well, they will avoid answering questions. Especially if you're educated and have a bit of an idea of what you're talking about, they're going to avoid answering complex questions. They'll also avoid video calls. Take note of that one, it's really important. And they'll provide excuses rather than providing solutions. So hopefully this is going to give you an idea of some of the signs of a scammer, also previously what scammers do to gain your trust. So as the final bit here, hopefully this is going to be really helpful for you on your quest to work with ayahuasca and plant medicine. Here are some tips, I've got a whole heap of them, some tips to avoid being scammed. So I think primarily one of the really good things that we can do is always ask for a video call prior. Video call is really essential. In this day and age, if you can't take a video call, there's probably something wrong. Or make the effort to get to good internet so you can take a video call. At bare minimum, which I wouldn't recommend as a really great thing, is take a call, but a video call would be number one. So also use your common sense and educate yourself in regards to the space and in regards to the medicine. This is going to help you hugely find holes in the credibility of someone if they are a scammer. Also, another tip to help you avoid being scammed is ask lots of questions. Ask lots of questions that are relevant. This is going to be really helpful, especially if they start sort of squirming around when you're asking lots of questions. The other thing you can do as well is do a bit of investigating. Check Facebook profiles, check how long they've been active on Facebook. This can apply to Instagram as well. Another bit of a red flag for me is if their Facebook profile is locked. This is something that people are utilising to hide behind the locking of the Facebook account, so you can't see any of their pictures. Also, maybe if there's incongruencies in there as well, like that, you can have a look at their Facebook profile, and there's just a couple of photos, and none of them really talk about anything to do with plant medicine, and it looks like they're in Indonesia or India or anywhere that they might be originating from. That's not to make a generalization that all scammers come from Indonesia or India. This is just an example also. But there does seem to be a good amount of scams coming out of India as well, with some of the controlled gang stuff that is going on there. So the other thing you can do as well is check the credibility counters, check Google, check their website. You can even check how long the website has been up and running for as well. You can check the age of the Instagram account, which I mentioned beforehand. This one's really helpful. Do a reverse image search on Google. So take the pictures from their website, their Instagram, or whatever they're sending you. Just type into Google reverse image search. You can even do it on your phone. Then you can upload the picture and it can tell you where it originates from. So if maybe the name isn't going to match up, or you're going to start seeing that it's just a totally different place to where the photos are coming from as well. That's a really good tool for investigating. Now, this one's kind of common sense, but we seem to miss sometimes as well, is reach out to them, reach out to the provider of where you want to go, rather than the provider or the person reaching out to you. This is going to make sure that you're not getting scammed. Not a lot of scammers, there is some, don't get me wrong, but not a lot of scammers are going to sit there with a website waiting for bugs to fall into their web. They're usually out there actively trying to make a quick buck as quickly as possible as well. So the other thing you can do also is check Google reviews if they're available. Now, there is also some really good places that aren't necessarily on Google, so this isn't to say that everything that isn't ticked here is a scam by all means, but definitely it can be a very helpful thing to see their legitimacy. If you have an address which in the illegal countries maybe, or the countries where it's not legal, might be harder. But if you do have an address, use Google Street View. Suss out exactly where the location is. Someone sent me one the other day where it was like in the middle of a highway that there's no house for like 50 kilometers, you know? It wasn't legitimate in any way, shape or form. The next thing to help you avoid being scammed is just be very patient. Just allow it to happen as it needs to. Once again, if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true as well. This is really helpful. I know it's not available to everyone, but try and attend ceremonies where a friend has been before, or someone who you know, at least to the level of trusting them, has referred you as well. This is pretty much a surefire way to not be scammed. The next thing also is don't pay a deposit until you've had a video call. That's a really important one also. Another really good tip that you can do is have a friend or family member who has no emotional attachment to the situation look over any material that they're sending. They might just pick up on something really quickly because there's no emotional attachment to it. I think that one really helpful. Now, I guess this is the final thing. Hopefully so far you found this video really helpful. If you get to the point where you're still unsure and something doesn't quite feel right, please feel free to reach out to me. You can do this via Instagram. There's also some links for like calendar bookings and things like that in the description in this video as well. I am happy to help people do this. I do this on a contribution basis of what you can afford. My main priority here is to be able to make sure people don't get scammed. But if you did want to utilize that service, I'm more than happy to check through everything for you, check how credible they are, put together a bit of a report about them if they are credible. Also, I can generally tell pretty quickly if they are a scam as well, because people do send me stuff pretty regularly. So hopefully you found this video helpful. Hopefully this video has given you a really strong insight in regards to avoiding scams. Also, please make sure you like the video. Please subscribe. It's very helpful for us to get these messages out there, and subscriptions to YouTube help us move the messages further. Now, if you have any comments, anything that you think I might have missed, something that you could contribute to help people with this as well, please leave them in the comments. It's always super helpful. We're all in this together. But most of all, thank you so much. Make sure to subscribe, leave comments, leave a like, and if I can help you in any way, shape or form, please reach out. Thank you for watching The Conscious Collaboration, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.